Welcome to Trident Astrology. I'm Janine Kane. Today, I'm going to be going over the October weekly forecast for the 26th through the 31st. Now, I have indexed this forecast in the description below with timestamps for each day. So if it's your preference, the index will allow you to watch the sections in a day-to-day format. So you're not having to watch this all in one sitting. Also, I have this forecast in written form, so if it's your preference to read the forecast, you can do that. There's a link to the written form in the description below. Okay, so let's get started. So, we end the month with 6 planets in retrograde: Mercury, Mars, Chiron, Uranus, Neptune, and Eris. Now, next month in November, we're going to have 3 planets going direct, and that includes Mercury, Mars, and Neptune. Last week, we had the Sun entering into Scorpio on the 22nd, so we are now in the Scorpio season, and definitely a time of change. We have Mercury and Venus entering into Libra this week on the 27th, and this is a very, very big shift of energy, and there's a lot of lessons that that we need to be learning from this energy shift dynamic. We also have our second full moon of the month, which is the blue moon, happening on the 31st. This is a Uranian Infused full moon. The Sun and Uranus opposition goes exact, and Uranus is in exact conjunction with the moon in Taurus. Also, accompanying this this full moon is a T-square between Mercury, Eris, Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter. We have the Sun-Chiron Quincunx going exact on the 28th, forming a yod to Chiron. So more adjusting, more healing energy. So let's get started with the forecast. So on Tuesday, the 27th, we have Mercury and Venus. Here's Mercury, here's Venus, entering into the sign of Libra. Now, Mercury it moves from Scorpio to Libra whilst it's in retrograde. Venus is going to be moving from Virgo to Libra. So the shifts in energy here are moving in a similar direction toward Libra, but they are moving from different vantage points and from 2 different psychological functions. So Mercury is the psychological function of thinking. It's the ability to think, to rationalize, and to perceive. And with it in retrograde, we've been exploring and learning from the unconscious. Suppressed or repressed material is moving to the surface of our conscious awareness, often triggered by outside events. So we are 2 weeks into our 3-week Mercury retrograde, with Mercury moving from Scorpio to Libra. We're shifting from the intensity of chaos and the unknown, Scorpio, to the capacity to handle intense stress, that's the Libra energy. So during this time, events are put into place that necessitate coping skills in time of stress. Mercury goes direct on November 3rd, and from the 3rd through November 19th, we'll be revisiting the lessons we're learning right now during the Mercury retrograde. So we need to be mindful of the habits that we're forming in response to stress. Okay. Now the lesson with Mercury moving into Libra represents the ability to calm down our sympathetic nervous system. Libra represents the parasympathetic nervous system, the body's ability to calm down in response to stress. So after a fight or flight experience, the parasympathetic system helps us calm down. And this is very strongly tied to Libra. So with Mercury moving from Scorpio here to Libra, it symbolizes the learned capacity to cope with intense stressors and the capacity to calm one's anxiety and insecurity as we face the unknown and chaotic, the Scorpio. So Mercury moving from Scorpio to Libra is restoring order from chaos. Now, Venus is the psychological function of feeling. This isn't dealing with emotions, which comes from the endopsychic realms of the psyche. Emotions are often influenced by the outer planets and the moon. Now, Venus is the function of discerning what is good or bad. It is the rational function which deals with our value judgments. Venus also deals with relationships. So Venus in Virgo has been about fixing things, troubleshooting, healing ourselves, healing our relationships. And so now that Venus is moving from Virgo to Libra, it can improve our capacity to relate as we have taken the time to psychologically heal. So this month, life situations out of our control have been put into place, creating this kind of fight or flight mode in us. It's caused states of anxiety and uncertainty, and we've had to practice measures of staying calm in order to control our fight or flight responses. And circumstances have encouraged inner healing, which can improve our ability to relate and increases our compassion for ourselves and others. Okay, moving on now from Tuesday. On Wednesday, the 28th, we have the Sun and Chiron going, Quincunx, going exact now at 5 degrees and 55 minutes, forming a yod to Chiron involving the Sun and Vesta here. Now, I believe this is a wonderful synchronicity of numerological significance. We end the week of October, a universal 5-month, whilst we have 2 planets shifting into the sign of Libra, which is associated with 5, and then we have 555 show up. So 5 means that there is likely something unexpected coming around the corner that we need to adjust to and need temperance to handle. Here we have a yod to Chiron, which deals with adjusting our need for control. So with Chiron and the moon conjunct in Eris, we are encouraged to emotionally heal our sense of self as we experience circumstances outside of our control. The challenge is to let go of control over things we don't have control over and focus on the things we do have control over and do something about it. And that's that when we can focus on the things that we do have control over and we do something about it, that's very much associated with the Vesta in Virgo. So we're encouraged here to tap into this Vestian power of our inner spark of life to forge through challenging times. So Eris wants to be in control. And with Chiron in Eris, Quincunx, the Sun to Scorpio, we need to let go of control right now. We need to focus on the things we do have control over. That's the Vesta in Virgo. We need to tap into our own inner strength. So much of the month of October, and certainly the last week in October, is about finding balance and coping with intense stress, facing the unknown, healing our inner lives, problem solving, and finding viable solutions during challenges. So we've had a very strong Libra, Chiron, and Uranian emphasis this month, having in large part to do with the numerology of 5 and healing in times of challenge. All right, moving on now, we're going to go to Saturday. And Saturday is a very, very powerful day energetically. On Saturday, October 31st, we have our second full moon of the month, which is the blue moon. So we have the Sun in Scorpio opposing the moon in Taurus at 8 degrees. So this full moon is in Taurus, exactly conjunct Uranus at 8 degrees. So this is a very Uranian infused full moon. Now the Sun-Uranus opposition is going to be going exact on Saturday at 8:53 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So this is intense. Uranian infused full moon. You can't get any more intense than this. This is very powerful. This energy can challenge our sense of safety, stability, and order. Uranus is about change, psychological integration, and soul evolution, which usually comes about through change. So when things feel safe and cozy, there's not usually a necessity for growth as comes with change. And so Uranus also symbolizes growth, integration. So with Uranus in the most ordered and stable of all signs, that's Taurus, earthy, fixed Taurus, there are changes happening to the exterior realms of reality, changes to our physical environment, changes happening to our body, forcing us to face the chaotic and scorpionic unknown and unstable realms of Scorpio, the Sun in Scorpio here. So the kind of change that Uranian change can bring about oftentimes can be of the utmost benefit to our psychological evolution as we experience conflict and paradox and a threshold of intensity in situations that inevitably lead to some kind of psychological integration eventually. So the moon represents our emotions and intuition. It's conjunct Uranus. And so this can bring about intense, shifting emotions, powerful emotions that we need integrated into our consciousness. So this is not a good time to be suppressing our emotions. We need to feel our emotions. We need to identify them and integrate them. Both Moon and Uranus here represent intuition. So it's a good time to trust our intuition, trust your gut. So with Uranus conjunct Earth, which the Earth here represents our 5 senses in the world. So we may actually physically experience the electrifying energy of the Uranus energy here a couple days before and after this full moon. So you might even have a difficult time sleeping, especially full moons will do that. They can impact our sleep, but with this Uranus influence, definitely so. So during this full moon, and really our whole lives, really, it's beneficial for us to have all our ducks in a row, financially, physically, mentally, emotionally, taking extra good care of our physical well-being. So Uranus exalts in Scorpio and it falls in Taurus. The moon is exalted in Taurus and falls in Scorpio. So we, as such, the conflicts and paradoxes of this Taurus-Scorpio axis of being are amplified. So especially with the Uranus in its fall in Taurus opposing the Sun in Scorpio. So we're really triggering the conflicts and paradoxes infused in the axis of Scorpio and Taurus here. So the lessons involved in the axis of being here between the Taurus and the Scorpio are amplified with the Uranian infusion here. Now we're born into this life, this adventure of all adventures, experiencing the eternal dance between order, that's Taurus, and Scorpio, chaos. So if we're taking care of ourselves, making good and productive decisions, being around people who want the best for us, taking care of our bodies, and working to reach our personal potential, and that's very much about what Taurus is about, we are better equipped in our day-to-day lives to deal with the chaos and unpredictability of Scorpio. So we have the capacity to restore order out of chaos. But we have to have as much of ourselves in order as we can possibly have. So we have this kind of responsibility for ourselves to keep ourselves in order as best as we can. So when chaos and disorder do come about, and it will, it's totally about, it's part of life, we can be better equipped to handle it. So that's what this Scorpio and Taurus axis of being is really all about. So I think that chaos sometimes is not necessarily a bad thing. It teaches us, it challenges us, and it helps us to reach our evolutionary potential. And at this full moon, the 31st, this dynamic is definitely being illuminated. And so Uranus here, it symbolizes the integration process, especially in terms of the Jungian theory of integrating opposites. And because Uranus is in Taurus and opposing Scorpio here, we're dealing with the opposites of the Taurus and Scorpio dynamic, the dynamic of being. And we're born into this world having to face chaos, but we have the potential to create order from that chaos. But we need to tap into our ability to do that. And I think in large part, and especially with this month being very Uranian in relationship to 5, it's been about us putting that into practice. Okay, moving on. So also a part of this full moon on the 31st is a T-square between Mercury, Eris, and the outer planets Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter. Now, the Mercury-Saturn square here, it's going to be going exact on the 1st and the 6th of November. And so I'm not going to go into it too much in detail because I'll be going over that in November forecast. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about this T-square energy since it's a part of the full moon. So these outer planets here are in Capricorn. And Capricorn is about the social world around us. So Capricorn, so with Saturn in Capricorn, it's restructuring and it's about integrity. Pluto, it's the planet of transformation and regeneration. And Jupiter is about expansion, so it's expanding these kind of social change, the social change happening in our society. And we all need to make adjustments in our thinking in relationship to the changes happening in our outer world. And with Eris squaring these outer planets, there have been immense amount of discord and anarchy happening in our social world. This most certainly will impact our perceptions of reality. And with Mercury in Libra, we are challenged to maintain balanced and thoughtful decision making in the midst of chaos and to consider the needs that will benefit both ourselves and others in the world. So Mercury is going to be going direct on November 3rd. That's the same day as the election day. And it's going to be moving at that point on November 3rd. It's going to be moving back into the post-retrograde shadow between 25 degrees and 54 minutes of Libra through 11 degrees and 40 minutes of Scorpio from November 3rd to November 19th. Now, I bring this up because right now, it's what you're learning during this Mercury retrograde from October 13th to November 3rd is going to be revisited. So I think it's really, really important for us, all of us, to ground ourselves and to be careful about the decisions we're making right now and really focus on how well we are managing change and stressors. Okay, So, in summary, on Tuesday, October 27th, we have Mercury and Venus entering into the relationship cooperation oriented sign of Libra. Mercury moving from Scorpio to Libra is restoring order from chaos. Venus moving from Virgo to Libra can improve our capacity to relate as we have taken the time to psychologically heal. On Wednesday, the 28th, we have the Sun-Chiron quincunx going exact, forming a yod to Chiron, which includes the Sun and Vesta. We are encouraged to emotionally heal our sense of self as we experience circumstances out of our we are encouraged to emotionally heal our sense of self as we experience circumstances out of our control. The challenge is to let go of control over things we don't have control over and focus on the things that we do have control over and do something about it. So we have to be in action in relationship to creating order from chaos. And we are encouraged to tap into our inner power to forge through challenging times right now. Finally, on October 31st, we have our intense second full moon this month, which is a blue moon, and this Uranian infused full moon illuminates the axis of being, Taurus and Scorpio, encouraging us to tap into our ability to create order from chaos, to learn from change, and face challenges in order to reach our evolutionary potential. All right, so future highlights for the upcoming November weekly forecast. On the 1st of November, we have Mercury-Saturn square going exact. We have Venus-Chiron opposition going exact on the 1st as well. On the 3rd, we have Mercury going direct. And also on the 3rd, we have the Venus-Uranus quincunx. On the 6th, we will have Mercury-Saturn square going exact again because Mercury going direct will make another visitation in that direction. And then on the 7th, the Sun-Mars quincunx will go exact. And finally, on the 8th, we have the Sun-Moon waning square, a quarter moon phase that we'll be looking at next week. So, thank you so much for joining me for another Trident Astrology weekly forecast. And I wish you the best during this very challenging time. And I wish you all the best in working through the chaos and the disorder and the changes happening right now. I have complete faith in all of us that we can get through this challenging times and meet our greatest evolutionary potential. All right, that being said, blessings and love.